Fine Wednesday morning. My name's Christine, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this Google Digital Garage training all about getting started with digital advertising. So we've got a packed morning to get through. We're going to take a little bit of an hour out of your day. What do you need to know? First things first, a little bit about us. So I'm, as I say, Christine, and I'm one of the trainers here at Google's Digital Garage. I can just see we've got a little bit of problem at the minute with the captions. So working on my end, Rashane. I've turned them off and turned them back on again. Hopefully that will help it out. You just let me know, Rashane, if we're doing right. So apologies for that. So as I say, my name's Christine and I'm one of the trainers on Google's Digital Garage project. I've been working on the project since just after it started back in 2015. And in that time, we have trained over 1 million Brits and helped them with their digital skills. So we have lots of offerings for you, and we'll talk a little bit about that as we go through. I'm a marketeer by trade, so getting the messages out to the right people and getting that digital advertising, which is what we'll be talking today. So getting the message to people via the wonderful world of digital is what I am all about. What else do we have to talk about? Okay, so alongside me, you've already heard me mention her. I have our wonderful moderator, Rashane, and I can see that she has, in the meantime, while I've been filibustering, she has fixed those captions. So if you do need the captions, head to the CC button, which will help you out with the sound. Rashane's our moderator. She's also one of our Google Digital Garage coaches, and she is there to help us out. She is going to keep everything moving along. She's going to answer some of your questions. She's going to maybe ask you some questions of her own, and she'll fill in little bits of detail around what we're doing. She'll also post some links, and that is all going to be in the chat area. So if you haven't already, pop up to sign up or sign into your YouTube account, and then you'll be able to access the chat where you can ask those questions, have a chat with Rashane, tell her a little bit about you, your business, why you joined us today, and then she'll be able to pass that all on to me. So why don't we all do that now? Head over to the chat, if you don't mind, and say hi to Rashane. You can tell you're talking to the moderator because she's got a little blue tick next to her name. We've got tons of other stuff, as I mentioned, coming at you from Google Digital Garage. If you head to our website, it's linked in the bottom. I know quite a lot of you will have found us this morning through our partnership with Wenta, and we welcome everybody that Wenta has invited to join this training this morning. If you want to hear a little bit more about us, then head to our website. It's linked in the description below, and it will show you some of the other training and opportunities that we have coming up for you as well. Okay, any trouble viewing the webinar, just try switching it back off and switching it back on again. A little bit of refreshing your screen tends to help a lot. We're going to pause through the session. So if you've got those questions, if Rashane thinks there's a question that would be great for the whole group to hear the answer to, she's going to ping that over to me, and we'll answer as many of those as we have in the time we have together. And yeah, captions we've spoken about. We'll also leave this video live for you. So we're broadcasting live on YouTube this morning. So what we'll do is we'll leave it alive for you for about another 24 hours, which means as we go through, if there's something you go, yep, that's what I need, that's the fella, jot down the time code. And then later on, use the same link that you used to get here this morning, brings you back to the recording. Hi to everyone watching the recording. And then you can jump straight to the time code of the part that you wanted to see. Okay, you can pause the video as we go through because we are on YouTube Live. You can pause it as we go, but then you're going to fall out of sync with the chat. You're going to fall out of sync with being able to ask Rashane those questions. So I strongly suggest you watch it all the way through with me now. And then later on, you can just pick out those parts that are going to be lots of use to you. And those parts will fall into 3 broad areas. So we've got search advertising. We're going to talk about display advertising. And we'll also talk a little bit about social advertising. And we're just in the, as with all digital stuff, everything moves at a real pace. So I'm going to show you some of the basics of these tools standalone, but what I'll then be able to talk about is maybe a little bit about how these tools are all coming together with machine learning and really helping to make good quality digital advertising lots a lot easier and a lot more effective and super measurable for smaller businesses. Because that, I think, is some of these things have felt a little bit too technical, a bit too difficult, a bit too far out of reach for smaller businesses. Now, tell Roshane the kind of business you're involved in. It'd be great to hear those things, but it will, it will be. It's becoming easier and easier and easier, and more accessible, more and more realistic for smaller businesses to be able to advertise this way. All right. Now, I mentioned other offerings, and just highlighting one that small businesses do tend to find quite useful is our free one-to-one mentoring. As I say, these sessions are completely free, delivered to you from Google by the Google Digital Garage training team. And what you do is you get paired with a mentor, you sign up, you fill out the form that you can get to at g.co/UK mentoring, and you get to spend an hour with one of the team talking about whatever it is that is your business needs digital help with. That could be a digital marketing plan. It could be going a little bit more, talking a bit more in depth about some of the tools. It could be talking quite a general about how everything fits together. So you can sign up for that if you are based here in the UK. And if you work for an SMB, small, medium-sized business, or a charity, and you're based here in the UK, you are more than welcome. In fact, actively encouraged to sign up and attend one of those free one-to-one mentoring sessions. If you head to our website, you can also see we take these, both the mentoring and the training sessions on the road to various events. So do check out the face-to-face training that's available as well. All right then. Let's jump right into search advertising. So search advertising is advertising on search engines. That's a good, easy one to start with. And it says here, obviously, I'm wearing my delicious charcoal Google Digital Garage top. I'm obviously going to want to talk to you about Google, but it's worth noting, and I say this, we are not, as part of Google's Digital Garage, we're not here to just sell you Google products. There are other search engines available. And sometimes, depending on the type of person you're trying to reach, it might be that they use a different search engine. There might be something about them that means that they use a particular search engine, a particular browser, a particular type of item. So do look at your data to see where people are coming from who use your website, for example, or learn more about your customers and find out the kind of browser, the kind of search engine they are most likely to use. Okay. And businesses, have a think. Why might a business like yours want to advertise in search on a search engine? Have a think about that. As I say, let Roshane know if you like, and she'll pass those over to me. So let's have a think. Where are we now? Oh, I managed to click off everything and I've lost everything. Right, so here we go. This is what you've probably seen one of these. Now, this is an interesting place to start. This is the search engine results page. Okay, so what we have when somebody searches, we type in our query, our question. Okay, and you'll hear people talk about keywords a lot when they're talking about search and search engine optimization and search engine marketing. What are the keywords? What are the keywords? And I sometimes think that by calling them keywords, we've kind of done them a bit of a disservice. And the saying of find your keywords means that people think if I just sprinkle a magic helping of some magic keywords over my website, then I'll magically be found. Okay, it's not as simple as that. Your keywords, your search query, they're the words and the phrases that people would type in to find a product or service like yours. So if they're asking questions, you've got to prove that you're a great answer to those questions. Okay, so when we're thinking of keywords, don't just think about small amounts of words. Really start to think about the phrases, the questions, those longer things that people are going to ask. So we type in our question. And from now on, every time you're searching, you are a student of search. So break into your thought patterns. We may then see an advert, some adverts, 4 adverts. Those adverts actually might be text ads like we're going to be talking about today. But they might also be shopping ads. They might also be a map with some ads linked to that. There's lots of the search experience is evolving. And as search itself is evolving, the way that advertisers can reach those targeted customers is evolving as well. And then underneath you have those, what we call the natural search, the organic listings. So at the top, the adverts, that's what, when we're doing search engine marketing, we're trying to get ourselves found in that area. When we are doing search engine optimization, you can tell I don't like either of those phrases, but we're trying to get ourselves found in the organic listings. My top tip, I guess, at this stage is make your mistakes when you're not paying for every click. All right, because when people run the adverts, if somebody clicks on your ad and then clicks off, you're going to be charged for that. All right, so learn a lot with your organic listings and then boost with the adverts. But we're here to talk about adverts, so we're going to talk today about that. Getting yourself, the ways to get yourself found in that top section. Get yourself on and off that first page of Google for those targeted searches that are relevant for your business. Okay. So let's take our typical small business, okay? And we've chosen here a pizzeria basically because here at the Google Digital Garage, as well as being obsessed with digital, we are obsessed with food. So all of our case studies tend to be around food, but it also means they're businesses that most people, even if you don't run a business in the food industry, you've probably been a customer of. You can probably, especially, an open kitchen, you can see how these things work. All right, so you can maybe imagine the processes and imagine how that might translate to a business like yours. So here we have Paulie's Pizzeria. Paulie's Pizzeria, they're an Italian restaurant, and they're situated in a specific area of Birmingham, okay? Area of Edgbaston. All right. It's really interesting to think about location and geography, because geography is one of the ways that lots of businesses can use to actually reduce the amount of people in their customer audience that they want to, their segments that they want to see. Okay, so Paulie's, they're based in Birmingham. They make and sell delicious pizza, as do lots and lots of businesses nearby. Okay, but what Paulie wants to know is in that really crowded marketplace, how they can increase their sales and use digital advertising as a highly measurable way to increase business or maintain business. So what we've got for you and for Paulie is a 4 steps process for getting involved in search engine marketing. All right. And step 1 is, as it rightly should be, and it's the right of, and it is not none of these are tasks that get done once. All right. So understanding your customers. All right. Understanding those customers is about an ongoing daily, and as I do use the word obsession. That's what I, as a marketeer, I spend my life thinking about those customers. What are they liking? What don't they like? How are they changing? What's becoming? So really, really putting a real customer focus is our absolutely first thing. Then we've got the second task, which is finding the keywords. And as I say, I've already caveated that keywords is maybe a little misleading, but key phrases, it's a bad term. We didn't think up the term. The term has been around for 20 odd years. But thinking of them instead of words as phrases and questions that customers might ask that you have a great answer to. All right. So literally we'll be thinking about putting those out into a lot of them. Then you've got the ad itself. And the tools are developing to make this easier and easier and easier. All right. It looks daunting at first. And if, as I say, because the tools have developed quite a bit, even since we took the screenshots for this training deck, we have got some fresh screenshots in the pipeline. But by the time they come in, they'll move on again, because that's the nature of it. It's just about, it is constantly moving. So I'll talk a little bit about the kinds of how you go about putting about an ad and then how you pull that all together. All right. So first up, we've got customers. So who are the audience? Who are you trying to reach? The number of times I work with a business and they'll say, who buys your products? Who might buy your products? Who's your customer of your business? They'll say, everyone. Everyone in the world could buy this product, which is brilliant. But even the world's biggest brands don't try and sell to everyone. Everybody needs to drink. Every day everyone needs to drink, but you don't see those big brands trying to target everyone with all their, Cokes and your Pepsis, they'll target certain sections of the population. It just makes things a lot easier, a lot clearer. Because as we say it in quite a few, if you try and talk to everyone, it doesn't actually resonate with anyone. All right. So we're thinking about those customers as individuals and trying to group together those individuals who are most likely to buy your products and or your services or interact with your business in some way, or your charity, if that's the case. So think about those people and try and really think about them as people. All right. And we do an exercise. We spend quite a lot of time on audience personas and customer personas. Some people call them avatars. With in our broadcast about writing for social media, where we really get under the skin of your audience. But for now, have a think about the types of people, those groups of people that you can think of, you can identify. Hopefully you can back up with data, who might be searching for a business like yours. So for the pizzeria, they've gone for students because, as we all know, students, they've maybe had a nice time and they want some quick food. Okay, they might buy a pizza. Busy professionals, different lifestyle. You're thinking about how your product and service fits into their lifestyle. Busy professionals might order pizza at different times. They might be thinking about it in a different way, but they will still, as will people who love pizza. You might have in their busy families, your Saturday night treats and different things. Think about all the circumstances that people might be most likely to buy a product, service, business like yours. Okay. So with a bricks and mortar store, we can think about reducing the group of people, because although we want to be able to identify groups of people, and they have to have enough people in them that it's going to be worth our while trying to reach them, we want to reduce. Because if I were to try and find, if my group of audience was every student in the entire UK, that's an awful lot of people, and there'll be lots of people trying to target every student in the whole of the UK. So especially as a smaller business, one of the smartest things we can do is really reduce our target pool. Easy peasy with a bricks and mortar business like a pizzeria, one of the first things we can do is reduce it by geography. Okay, so where are they? So where might these people be? So here they've gone for Edgbaston, Selly Oak, B15. They've started to name some geographies, some areas that they can identify where those people might be, based on town names, based on what's close. When you're thinking about pizza, you've got to actually be really quite concentrated in your advertising, because people aren't going to order a pizza. No matter how good your product is, how good your adverts are, they're not going to order it from an hour's drive away. It'd be no good when it got there for a start. So it's really about restricting and thinking of ways that you can restrict your target audience to make them a concentrated, delicious, high quality audience. And then what we've thought about is what's important. So for each individual group, for your students, what might be really important is the opening hours, that you open at the funny times that they want to eat, when they decide at 2 a.m. that they want a pizza. It might be that they have fast food quite a lot. So maybe it's about, the variety of the things that you can offer. Maybe it'll be about having a really friendly local presence. So different people are going to value different things. So it's worth identifying what you offer and then trying to tally up what you offer is going to appeal to those people. And the other side to do it is that's what you've got already. Flip it on its head and go, actually, these things that I don't offer yet would really appeal to this group. And that's how you actually can develop your business to be responsive to that audience. We talk more about that when we're talking about digital marketing strategies, for example. So the next thing is to think about those words and phrases and questions that those people ask. And here we are, just as a keyword. The keywords are the words or phrases, those questions that are used to match your ad to the terms that people are searching for. So it's really important to realize that for your ad to appear, something of what you say in your ad construction has to match something that they're searching for. And it's getting smarter. In the old days when I started doing this 7 years ago, you really had to think about all the different synonyms for the different ads. It's getting smarter. The machine learning is starting to understand, that if I say best pizza, I might also be looking for great pizza. So I don't necessarily have to list out every single one of those. What will be interesting would be thinking about the pizza, the Italian food, all the words that are really describing that product that I've got. Okay. So one way to do it is literally brainstorming, getting pens and whiteboards or post-it notes and popping them up on the wall and trying to get, if you can do this with a group of people who know your business or are your customers, really trying to think of all the things that people might search for, the questions they might ask that your business is relevant for. One fun task to do is to make combinations of those. So, instead of those words that are closely related to your business, so they've gone for pizza, fast food and takeaway. They want to be found for those words. But obviously loads of people are wanting to be found for those words. Let's make them more specific. So we've taken some of those geography ones, locality, BAT in Edgbaston, Birmingham, and we've added those together. So from those 3 real keywords, we've actually come up with 9 location-based phrases. Okay, so it's a generation tool. The idea is to use it to try and broaden your thinking. What might we be a great, late night delivery pizzas or something, if somebody's in that moment, pizza near me, open now. They're the kinds of things that they're going to be starting to look for. And as I say, it is evolving. So you can use this in combination. You can run ads off your Google business profile that actually know when you're open, for example, and have your product catalog added to it, which is a phenomenal leap for small businesses, actually. So let's just have a little look at this. We have got different keywords, all right, so key phrases. And here's an idea. You can play along at home. Why don't you try and match the phrases that go with each business? And let's see. So really interesting is looking at how people search. So as I say, join our, we have a broadcast that's called Get Your Business Visible on Google, which talks a lot about search and how it works. But so for instance, a cupcake shop in Birmingham has a key phrase that might be, if they can offer it, same day cakes Birmingham. The need for same day cakes is actually quite different for somebody who's looking for the best cupcakes in Birmingham. The fact that they add that same day, it gives a bit of a, okay, if people are looking for same day, and you can do a bit of research as to what people are looking for, what does that mean? They're going to need a range that's ready to go. Don't bid for same day cupcakes if you have a week-long waiting list. It's about thinking about not just what you could use, it's about what is relevant for your business. So here's the answers as we prepared earlier. And you can say, this one, phone repair shop in Birmingham comes up with phone repair Birmingham city centre. More location based. It's not just the postcode. There's other things going on. Where can I fix my iPhone screen, Beham? Those questions coming in, really interesting. And then just plain phone repair. So sometimes they might search for our keywords. Sometimes they're really thinking in those much longer phrases. And so getting yourself closely related lists of 10 to 15 words for each group is a really good task to do. So then we need to think about the adverts themselves. All right. Now, so we've got the keywords that we want to use. The ad is based up of a lot more than just a few sprinkle keywords, because the keywords and phrases will help you match to that person. But what your job is of your ad is to really make them click. So you've got to think about it as a compelling telling of your story with a little bit of urgency to it in your call to action. Okay, so things we've got here is, if you look at the ad at the bottom, you've got the blue big headlines. All right. So they're your two. Got two headlines on those. I think you have up to 3 headlines there. So they've got pizza, takeaway and edge fast, and fast 15-minute delivery. So they've highlighted something in that. But there's also the URL it goes to. So where in green it says ad, clearly denotes it's an ad. They've then got pauliespizza.co.uk/pizza/takeaway. That might not be the URL of the exact landing page they're going to, but that's what we call the display URL. So we've used those /pizza and /takeaway to reinforce somewhere at the back of the mind that this is exactly what you're looking for. You're looking for takeaway pizza. It says /pizza, it says /takeaway. We take these things in a split second, but psychologically repeating of those relevant words is really important for the user's brain to quickly see what we're all about. And then what they've done is they've put the offer in. So they've used the descriptions to describe their product, to talk about their offer, and just to give a bit more of a flavour of what you're getting, tell that story. And then they've used the words order now. That's their call to action. So when you break down the ad, you've got your headlines, you've got your descriptions, you've got your URL, and then really importantly, the call to action in there. And it looks a bit like it does in this screenshot. It's probably very tiny on your screens. You'll see it when you go into the ad platform. That actually, you fill out the boxes. What I would say is when you're filling out the boxes, if there is a box to fill out, fill it out. The more information you can feed this tool, the better. Okay. So thinking about a little bit about headlines. All right, here we've got some different headlines. And do you remember we said we had different groups within our customer base? And maybe some of them valued the convenience of having just pizza right there when they wanted it. Some of them valued the variety of having different toppings, different foods available. Maybe they want some calzone, what have you. And then this authentic experience. So because different things are of interest to different people, we came up with some different headlines that are going to appeal to those different people. Okay. So if you value variety, a different deal every day might be of interest to you. If you value that variety, it might be that there are 17 different toppings. So have a think for yourself. You can watch this on the replay and do it for yourself. And this is what we came up with. So if you're valuing that authentic experience, using the words authentic Neapolitan pizza and live Italian music, these are things as well, especially on the authentic experience, that are different to what their competitors might be doing. So being able to really connect with what the customer wants and then elevating yourself above those competitors, not just by bidding, but by really knowing those customers and really giving great offers for them. And then we put it all together. Now, the tool we use here is a tool called Google Ads. All right. And when you go into Google Ads, literally just type in Google Ads in your search engine browser. If you're working within Google Ad platform, within your Google, and you're signed in when you're browsing, it's going to come up and know who you are if you already have a Google account that you use for your business. If you have a Google account that you use for your business, that you run your Google Analytics off, or you run your search engine console off, it's really important to try and use the same account to set up your Google Ads as well, if you haven't already done so, because it just then seamlessly helps you to pull in the data from those different places. And there's no point advertising, paying for clicks, if you're not measuring what's going on at the other end. Okay, so sign up, sign in, whatever it is. Basically, there's a big plus button, top left-hand corner, I think it is, that's a new campaign. All right, and when you do new campaign, you get to select from different types of campaign. Now here they've gone for search and they're showing display. Actually, there are lots of different types of campaigns. So you can actually within the Google Ad platform, you can advertise across 5 or 6 different places in the Google network. Okay. And we also have we're going to focus in on search for right now and display, but don't discount smart ads. So what smart ads do is they take all this thinking and they do a lot of machine learning for us. So they do smart bidding, and they'll help us to achieve our objectives that way. So really interesting to look at. You don't have to do all of the work for yourself anymore. But the thing you're next going to think about is who you're going to target. All right, so you've set up your campaign. Who do you want to target? This is where we might bring in the geography. This is where we might bring in, if we had a big data set, we could bring in customer groups. And then we're going to add in our keyword groupings. All right, so think of the words that we want to target. We've created them elsewhere and then pop them in. When we're doing keywords, make sure that they are quite a tightly themed list. So you probably want to, at this point, if we're running standalone search ads, you want to have a campaign that makes a lot of sense. So you might have a campaign just for those people who value the convenience and write ads that match to what convenience would mean. Then a different set of ads that could run at different times for those pizza lovers who maybe take a bit longer and think about it a bit differently. Okay. Then you pull it all together and create your advert basically by filling in all those boxes like we've said already. And you'll also be able to set a budget, make sure the measurement is working. If you're using smart ads, you'll also, as well as a budget to set, you'll also, you could ask it to use machine learning to optimize your ads, whereby you say, I want to optimize for, rather than just clicks, which is we've always paid per click with ads, you can actually ask the Google Ads platform now to optimize for leads or sales or watching a particular piece of content. If your data is all set up to flow nicely through, and then it will do whatever it takes, whatever's best for it, to make sure that happens. Right, I could talk about this all day. If you want to talk about it all day, do sign up for one of those one-to-ones, where we can go into a lot more detail about everything. I'm just going to check in with Roshane. So really, really, really interesting question from Brand Solutions, which is how do you target mainly businesses? Now, if we were doing thank you for that. It's a really interesting question because you can't, in this particular place, just target businesses. If I wanted to target, you can only ever target people. All right. And you need to think about the people who are likely to be searching, and the words, the questions that they would be asking are different if they're looking on behalf of a business than looking on behalf of a person. When we get into the social media side of things, I might park your question just a little bit and just think, okay, if I'm a person who works in a business, when am I looking for business? And what specific questions would I be looking for? I don't know your what business you're in there. If you were targeting businesses for for a pizza, they might have a thing where they go, actually, we want to open at lunchtime and do catering for meetings. At which point the ad that they ran, they'd be thinking, all right, well, how does a business cater? Who's looking? They really go into the decision-making unit. Who is looking for catering for meetings? It could be the admin staff. All right, well, what are they looking for and when are they looking for it and how do they go about doing it? What's going to appeal to them? And that's when you'd be looking at things like scheduled deliveries and open at lunchtime, handle big orders for me, literally be saying, you got a meeting to book, we've got your food solution. Okay. So it's you want to think about the questions that are going to be asked. I've just seen from Roshane that you're a marketing business. Brilliant. So what questions are you a great answer to? And then be thinking, okay, how am I going to get my message in front of the people who are asking those questions? Search might be one of them. All right. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep going because Roshane will soon be telling me, just because we're talking about search right now, and in a moment we'll display it, it doesn't necessarily mean that search is the right kind of advertising for every business. All right, you might find, to be honest, that marketing businesses have especially if you're a smaller marketing business, it's a huge, huge market out there. And actually, it might be that search isn't the right option for you. Search is just one of those advertising options. We'll talk about another of them right now, and that's called display. Now, display is where you advertise on a variety of different publisher websites. Okay, so search is really immediate. Think about you in your daily life. I think of something, I search for it, I want it, I click and I take that action. All right. So think about those search ads as something very immediate. I know what I'm looking for. I search for it. It's very, very explicit. What happens when they don't know who you are yet? And this might be a question for you there, Brand Solutions. They don't know about me yet. They don't even know I exist. And actually, when they do search, lots and lots of competitive businesses come up because I'm a small player in a big pool. That's when you reduce by geography. You maybe look at targeting into niches, that sort of thing. All right. Display advertising is different. Display advertising steps back a few steps in that customer journey. All right. And you can use this display to be found when people aren't looking for you, to be seen anyway. All right. And we say on a variety, you will have, if I say, who knows what display is, I normally get a room full of blank faces. If I then say, has anyone seen an ad like this? It goes, aha. And lots of smaller businesses think that this kind of advertising is, out of their reach. Display ads come in all kinds of shapes and sizes, banners, imagery, video, plain old text ones. The best ones are lovely, lovely images. Okay, but there are lots of different ad formats available. You, just like anything, what happens with a display ad is somebody's reading some content and you would like to be seen as relevant around that content. Okay, so that's where image ads come in really well, with a strong, simple message. And when I first started doing marketing way back before the internet, our teachers would tell us, when we were studying, that you had to be seen psychologically. You had to be seen 7 times. A brand had to be seen 7 times before it would be noticed. So back then it was about getting yourself out into lots of different places to be seen. We are bombarded with so many more images now, so many more messages, that I don't know what that number is, but it's far, far higher. So it's not just about we scroll past until something jumps out at us. And what makes it jump out is how relevant to us it is. And then how great the imagery is. All right, so those are the things you're trying to pull together. All right, so display advertising, I've already mentioned it's different because, you're basically looking outside the search engine when people aren't ready to look for you yet. So different websites, you might be on somebody's news publishing site. Lots of content websites use the Google Display Network to actually pay for their journalism because they run ads around their content that pay those pairs of eyeballs. And that's the different thing. You're paying for pairs of eyeballs to see your ads. You're not necessarily paying for an action to be taken. You can really highly target it, but it's really about driving brand awareness, or at the other end, reminding people that you exist. Display advertising is great for reminding people who know you already that you exist. So your 4-step process in this time is, first of all, you've got to understand your customers. Okay. Secondly, you might want to think about, well, where do I want to appear? So we think of those as our placement ideas. Then come up with some really great creative ads, great imagery, really strong words. And you've got to kind of do that. That's not something that can be taught in a session like this. And then you pull it all together within the Google Ad platform. Okay. So thinking about that audience again. We're obsessing about our audience again. So our 3 potential audience groups are still the same. We've got students, busy professionals, and pizza lovers. And they have tons of places that they could get their late night food fix. Okay. So what we want to be doing is thinking, okay, how do we get ourselves in their mind when they're doing other things so that when they come to make that search, their brain recognizes us, even if they aren't aware of it, and clicks on us as a trusted name. Okay. So we're going further back in that buying cycle. We're going before they don't even realize they're hungry. So 3 places they might be. And when we're talking about this, we're now thinking about websites they might be hanging out on. So student websites, they're probably local. The student union might have a website. The different places trying to sell into the students, they might have different content websites, what's on in town websites, that sort of thing. Might be local food directories. There might be food blogs. There might be things that I say, I know that people who like whatever this is also like whatever this is. If I'm selling something to do with cars and I can get in around articles about cars, selling something about holidays, get in around articles about travel. Okay, so it's really thinking about, a bit wider thinking about what else is going on in somebody's life before they find the need for you. And this is where coming up with those really strong personas is really good. Now, this isn't available. This suggests it's a standalone tool. The Google Display Planner still exists, but it's been integrated into the whole tool. So when you go into the Google Ad platform, you're not expected to do all this alone. It will guide you as you go through the step-by-steps. And one of the things it will do is it will help you to find the placement for the ads that you're creating. All right. So it will help you to find the websites that might be relevant for you. And it will help you by, here it shows, the kind of ad format and how relevant and what kind of level of traffic you're likely to see and how much it's likely to cost. So you get all those details up front while you're pulling your campaign together. Okay. Comes to creating those engaging adverts. That's about, okay, what visuals can I get that really show, the one here, we're trying to show that this pizza in Edgbaston is fresh and it's authentic and it's delicious. So we've got lovely fresh ingredients being created, really great fresh colour coming through in that images. So visually appealing adverts, very important. There's also a really strong offer going on there. We've got these 2, the buy one pizza, get second one free. That might be a great offer to run on the student websites during the week when we're maybe a bit quieter. Things like running offers. You can turn your ads on and off at different times. You can do this with your search ads as well. If I was doing an offer of fast pizza or your money back or buy one, get one free, I'm only going to run those offers to boost my sales when I don't have enough business. On a Friday and Saturday night, I probably have as much business as I can deal with, potentially. So at that stage, I don't want to be running those offers. You look how the likes of the big ones like Domino's do it. They do different offers on different days because they know that of a weekend, they don't need to run offers. So don't discount yourself. Don't compete against yourself. Don't lower your prices. Use the offers selectively to grab the eye for something that's really going to connect with that person. Okie dokie. So let's pull it all together. We've thought about who the customers are. We've thought about where they're hanging out online, where they're getting their information from, what else they might be looking for before they get hungry for us. Okay. And then we've thought about having really good images, good, strong offers that are relevant, but don't detriment us in our business. And similarly, again, to pull this all together, we're going to be logging into the Google Ad platform. So go to Google Ads. And if we're just doing a display campaign, then when we select what kind of campaign, we'll select display. And then we actually start to pick out our goals. What are we actually trying to achieve with this platform, which is really important, and that this, as I say, the smart learning, the machine learning will start to optimize. If we say we just want website traffic, it will try and get us as many clicks to our website as possible. If we say we want leads and we're measuring leads by filling out this particular form, it will try and optimize for that. If we say we want sales and we have a basket function, we can tie the whole process in and it will optimize for getting those completed sales through the basket. That all has to be set up with your Google Analytics as well, but absolutely worth doing, because then when you let the machine learning, the AI do its thing, it optimizes. And that's where, instead of just doing search, just doing display, it actually creates cohesive campaigns across the Google network. Really, really interesting, really, really exciting. So you set your targeting options. Here we've maintained our geography. We can maintain our geography with our display ads. There's no point, if I'm based in Edgbaston, sending it out to somebody in Chorlton in Manchester, you know? So then think about all the different campaigns you're going to have and where you're going to be found in, all right? The placements, it will help you to find those. You can select particular ones that you do or don't want, if that's relevant for you. And then you pull out the ad together. And this is great. Just as we had before, where we had the headlines, we had the descriptions, we now have headlines, descriptions, and assets. So images and videos can go in here. And the phenomenal thing about it is it will then, do you remember I said there were different sizes and shapes of ads that you could have? What the tool will then do is it takes your assets and it wriggledy-jiggles them to fit the format of the ads on the page. When I first did this, we literally had to provide a JPEG file or a TIFF file to each website with the exact dimensions of the ads. The display network pulls it in, it makes it so much more accessible. Okay. And then, but it is kind of down to you. Calls to action, great images, clear offers. That's what you're going to look to incorporate into your ads. Okie dokie. So, quick questions on there. I can see Phil's asked a question about keywords and hashtags. They are different things, but they are similar and related. But the hashtags relate more to the social media side of things rather than we've been talking about advertising on search engines and display on other people's websites so far. So why don't we jump in to the final section, which is a little bit about social advertising. We've got two different websites as well two different webinar broadcasts as well that will talk about social media. We've got social media strategy and writing for social media that I've already mentioned. If you're interested in advertising on social, that's really important that you get involved with those two as well. Brand solutions, just hopping back to your question. So you could target businesses, not so much through search ads, but through display by advertising on the kinds of sites that businesses go to get their information. It might be that you find display is a useful thing to do. Or you might decide that social paid advertising is something that works for you, because all of these things work for if you're trying to reach consumers. We use a consumer example just because it's super easy for people to understand. Business buying B2B is a little bit more tricksy, as those of you in B2B will know, because you tend to not just have a person making a decision. You'll have to have different places, different people within the decision-making unit. Somebody using the product, somebody paying for the product, somebody deciding whether or not they can buy the product. And they've got different informational needs. So using that decision-making unit, you can run ads based on getting to them. One of the ways to do that might be social. So social advertising, paid advertising across social networks. Every social network that operates for free to its users pretty much pays for its business model in the end, eventually, by getting businesses on board to advertise to them. Okay, so having a presence on these platforms, having a business page, doesn't mean you're advertising on them. Doesn't mean, you have to advertise on them. But all of these platforms, and, you can see TikTok isn't on there yet, all the different platforms as they come up. And it's about identifying which platforms is it worth you investing your time and investing your money in, okay? For most platforms nowadays, you're not going to go viral. A lot of going viral in the past has been seeded with advertising anyway. They use advertising to extend their reach to get seen, and then it gets shared on beyond that. So to get seen, to work really on social media, it is what we would say is pay to play, else you are really restricting who sees you there. Okay. So social advertising is going to it has different things you can do on it. So you can use social advertising to reinforce your message with people who already know about you. You can also use social to get your message out to people who haven't heard of you yet. So that can be broad awareness campaigns. You can be quite targeted with, people who are like the people we already know. You can look at lookalike audiences and find more people like them. Okay. If all you're going to do is just re-promote special offers, you're only ever going to see quite a small audience. What you want to be doing is looking at how can I use social to expand who knows about me. And then, so we're going there again, back in that journey. Or to remind people who know and love me that I've got something to say, and remind them, nudge them to come back and talk to me. Okay. So organic and paid, I don't like the word free when it comes to anything digital marketing, if I'm perfectly honest, because anything you do, just because you're not paying per click or paying for view or paying per pair of eyeballs like you do, doesn't mean you're not putting in time and love and effort. To create a social media post or campaign actually takes time, it takes thought, it takes care, and to do it well, it does take up resources. The problem when you just use organic is as you post, it then decays and drops and disappears. So we have that thing, you've basically got the time it takes for a thumb to scroll and then it's forgotten about. If you are lucky, your organic posts will reach some of your followers and potentially some of their friends or followers as well. With paid social media, you can create one piece of content and then it stays buoyant on the top. So rather than having to keep up with new content all the time because it keeps disappearing off the end of the screen, you can actually have good quality content that appears again and again and again in different people's feeds. So you can target and reach out in more places and often with more features. We'll show you some of the differences in the features. And it says you can reach anyone. You can't reach anyone. You can't reach my mum on social media. She's just not there. You couldn't reach me on TikTok. I'm not there. I'm very proud to say it. It's about matching the person with the presence and making sure that if they have a presence on that platform, that you're talking to them for the reason you're there. We've mentioned business a couple of times. Although I'm not on TikTok, I am on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. I'm not going to be looking for my industry. If I work in industrial widgets, I'm not going to be looking for industrial widgets on all of those platforms. It's about matching the person in the moment that they're using that platform for that purpose. Don't try and sell me Facebook stuff on LinkedIn and don't try and sell me LinkedIn things on Facebook. Okay. In terms of I mentioned that you have different features. Paid social media posts almost universally will be marked up as something like suggested or sponsored or ad. They'll be shown that it will be demarked that it is an advert. But they quite often give you, like we have here, more of the real estate of the page. If you think somebody's scrolling through this, it takes up more of the screen, so there's less to distract them either side. By having more comments, more calls to action, more details, it's also, as you can see, quite often they'll take off the date and timestamp. So this will stay buoyant. It also gives us a call to action here. We can choose to like the page because that's what that person wanted to do. Here, we've got the shop now going on for a paid post. We might have different, the features and things that each ad platform, they evolve, each platform evolves and they don't tell us or you what they're doing. So the only real way to do it is to have a genuine presence on these platforms, research, see what other people are doing. And try out the new features as they come to you. If you signed up for the business account and you are advertising on there, they're going to let you know the new features as they come along and they become available to you. Okay, so lots of visible differences, but there again, some similar things. Ad tends to be bigger, stands out with its shop now. It takes up more of that real estate. Okay. Some bit more here about this is the Twitter one about different things. There's more space to it. There's more going on. So that tends to be what happens. But check out for the platforms you're using, check out what's going on. So the big question is obviously going to be where to advertise. Look and see what you're doing already. I would always focus on maybe start with a single network. Don't try and advertise in every place and really focus your spend, focus your efforts. People are different people are on different platforms for different reasons. So what it's really about is, just as we said before, really thinking about what you want to achieve and who that audience are. What is that audience doing when they're scrolling through that feed? Okay. So think about what you want to, here's your 4-step plan. Think about what you actually want to achieve. There again, is it awareness? Is it sales? Is it retargeting of people who've seen you before? You think about your audience. How are you going to identify them? Think about what your ads are going to look like. And then you're really important to think about budget. So think about where your audience is. Every single platform will tell you some stats about the kinds of people who work on who are there. When you think about it, they'll all give you insights and business metrics to can use. So use those numbers. They will tell you about the people who like you already. This is why and then you can look for lookalike audiences. Be really, really careful. When we first set up our pages, so many business ask their friends and family. So I would go to my mum and say, oh, can you, if she were using Facebook, which she's not, I'd say to her, oh, can you like my page? But then it would look in my metrics like the people who like my page are in their 70s and like gardening, dancing and music. If I'm trying to sell something that isn't related to those things, that having that friends and family following is actually going to skew my data towards people like them rather than people like my audience. So it's harder to go about doing it, but I'm always very wary about friends and family likes because you can mess with your data, and the data is really important. So where they are depending on the platform they're on, and then where are they, what are they interested in? What are they looking for? Okay, it's really worth, with all of these, having a look at what your competitors are doing. When you're choosing the platform and the things to use, see how they interact across different platforms. What seems to work for them? Are they using video? That might be worth giving it a try. Are they running lots of polls, lots of competitions, doing lots of offers? Some of those things, and it doesn't have to be the pizza restaurants on the same street as you. Look at the pizza restaurants in Edinburgh. Look at the, the Greek restaurants in Wales. Have a look at the different things that are going on in the similar industry, targeting the same sorts of people. If I was in financial services, I might look and see what the solicitors are doing. They're looking, and the accountants, they're all looking for similar kinds of people. Okay. And then, you can look at your own analytics. So look at your web analytics and see, are any platforms working well for you already? If you're doing work and you want to be doing that. Okay, so lots of different targetings. I mentioned it on social media. The different things you can target for depend on the platform. So different platforms have different things to look for. If you're Facebook, you're looking at interests and life events. If you're LinkedIn, you're looking at the business they're in and the skills they've got and the type of work that their business does. So different platforms for different people. So if I wanted to target financial directors working in IT based in the UK, or brand solutions, if I were to try to target businesses in a geographic area you might want to restrict to the kind of bigger than small businesses, but not as big as big businesses, if that makes any sense. Find that sweet spot for your business. You can then target the owners of those before they have a marketing director of their own, potentially. Okay, so that might be a much smarter way. As I say, we're not here to sell you Google products all the time. This is about identifying those people for you. All righty. Hopefully, Phil, I can, the difference between keywords and hashtags, they are similar in that they are used to describe what you're looking for, but they are also used completely differently. I would never post my keywords out anywhere. It's all about identifying what people are searching for and how people are behaving and how they are using that platform. So hopefully that's helped a little bit. And I think we've hopefully covered your question as well, brand solutions. So I hope those have been of use to you. Do let Roshane know. She's there in the chat as we go. So what I'd love to and what I'd love for you to tell Roshane is, what are your next steps? So from doing today, make an intention. Tell the universe, tell Roshane, tell everybody who's watching here together what it is that you're going to do next. You're much more likely to do it if you've actually expressed it in that way. So use it. We'll be your accountability buddies. You can use it to set that intention. One of those things might be, if you're based here in the UK and you do work for a charity or a small business, is to sign up for one of our one-to-one mentoring sessions, for which you go to g.co/UK mentoring. And there we go, Roshane. You didn't think I'd manage it, but I have managed to bring us in just on time. We have run out of time, however, so thanks for all I can see all the interaction buzzing away at the side of my screen. Thank you so much for your questions and your comments and your thoughts and feelings today. Thanks to Roshane for being a super moderator, as always. Check out our website, which will link you through to the Google Digital Garage. The link is in the description below. Also, keep up with what Wenta are up to, because those guys are always up to great stuff to support smaller businesses. Other than that, thank you so much for your time today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope it's been of some use to you. And we look forward to welcoming you again to another Google Digital Garage training session sometime soon. Have a great day.